Morning traders, and welcome to Price Action GPS. I am the Market Surfer here with your morning report for July 10th, 2023. Yes, the first one for July. Sorry, last week. There wasn't really much to talk about except Friday, and I figured we'd talk about it today. Right off the bat, we'll go on to Jerome Powell is haunted by a repo crisis as Fed aims to cut balance sheet. It's the same thing that was going on in 2019 before the corona. So, if you're a cynic and you believe that these things are cause and effect and they're all, related, then somehow, some way, over the next few months, we're going to come into some kind of crisis. I'm sure there's a banking crisis going on, whether or not that's going to be, quote unquote, the problem, or it will be a new manufactured problem. But there is a lot going on. They're tightening. There's not enough money. Well, I'll read through this real quick. Just a few things, but I will attach this in the show notes. We didn't see it coming. Powell acknowledged at the House Financial Services Committee, June 21st, when referencing the sudden problem that emerged in 2019 and forced the central bank into steps it didn't want. The advantage now is we have the experience, he said. So basically, they're running out of money. As these quantitative easing or tightening, the easing is they print it. The tightening is they let the bonds mature and they don't replace them. So then the money technically evaporates. They paid the interest. They give the money back to the client. Basically, with the debt deal, the government debt deal, the debt ceiling, they have to come up with money. So now they have to sell bonds and bills to come up with this cash. Where that money's coming from to buy those bonds and bills, that could be the problem. It's probably, from the last video we talked about, 50% of it is probably coming from bank accounts, deposits, and the other 50 from the sale of the bonds. So we'll see how that goes. But this week, we should see some movement in the market this week. And it's not about earnings or this. It's about a few things. And I will get to them in the charts. But I will add this dramatically without particularly important macroeconomic effects. Or I guess that's a reverse repo. I'll just add this to the show notes. There's so much going on. There is no, you can figure this out. You kind of have to let the things start coming together. From what I'm seeing, I'm just seeing everyone trying to get rid of their fiat dollars and trying to exchange it for something tangible, whether it's gold, silver, property. Even the banks. If the banks don't care about the commercial real estate, bubble that's going on, the banks are the ones ending up with all of the real, true, hard assets. Because the people who own, always goes to the banks, right? The banks always end up with the asset. It's like you technically rent it from them anyway, because you go through all these hoops to keep everything going. And in the end, these companies or these investment firms are just giving the buildings back to the bank, saying, here, this doesn't work for me. Between the loans, the interest rates, and the occupancy rate I have in these buildings, it just doesn't work. And the business model has failed, so here's the keys back. We claim bankruptcy, and it's over. So if that's the case, there's a lot of transfer of wealth going on in a large scale because they're true hard money assets. They're real assets. So that's what's really going on, in my opinion. The trading that's in between and the charts, that's just the symptoms of the problem. So one more thing before I even go, I forgot. Sir Alex Gates, thank you. Someone has fixed Albi because it's always screwing up on Mozilla or Firefox, whatever we want to call it. It seems to be now it's running smooth, and I've seen your streaming stats. You sent me another one here, so can't figure out if you're getting my stream stats. So here you go. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for everything you do, man. No Agenda Tube is primarily where I love putting my stuff because of the community that's there. So for that, we're going to go right into our Bitcoin chart now. We're leveling off. That should be support right there. We'll probably pop up and take that. But after that 32, I expect a major sell-off. The idea that Bitcoin is going to have a ETF, that's good. That gets that blood pumping. It may get us to here, but I don't believe that's going to make a difference until we're back down to around the 20,000. I'd say 25 at first, but if we break the 25, then the 20,000, and after 20,000, then we're going down to 14. So when this finally steam blows off and we get some relief and a pullback, let's see how far that pullback goes. Or is that not a pullback and it's a continuation of pattern to the downside? So I'm expecting something to happen, and I know most people would think it would help Bitcoin. I don't think there's enough liquidity. I think Bitcoin is at a vulnerable place right now because of the lack of liquidity. Though the market can be manipulated quite easily with the lack of liquidity and large purchasing power. So keep that in mind. Here's a dollar index. It looks like we're going to... I want to see if we hold to 101. I mean, we got to 104. That was good, man. I called that one. That was pretty good. It just went a little higher than I expected. I expected it to stall out there, but yet it got to the 104. So here we go. Let's see how far we go down. This looks like we could have a little divergence here. We may get a bounce off of this and head back up, but we have to wait for this pattern to finish. It is a 4 hour. Here we go with the euro. The euro is climbing. This is only the hourly. Let's go to a 4 hour. See the right there is probably the main resistance at 110. Not sure if we get there or not. No, we'll probably get to 110. Anything above that, I'm not sure. But this is our triple top. 1, 2. We could easily ride up to that trend line. We're right there. That would take us to August. Yeah, I could see that. Because remember, I'll talk about that when we get to it. Here's another one that I'm starting to... here's the Spider S&P Regional Banking ETF. I don't see... it's finding support. We really don't know what it's going to do. I'd imagine it's not going to do well, but we are at a support level. Well, we could go down to that trend line, but we are at a support level and see what happens. But this is the one I'm more concerned about, the move. Because when this one gets up to that 150 mark, it's a concern. And it just found support and started creeping back up. We're at 130. We start getting around this area, now we're having banking problems again. Well, at least the bond market will have volatility. So whether or not it's a banking problem or not, but the volatility is starting to creep up in the bond options. So that usually signals something. Here we go with the 2 year. Look at that. Where did it go? Went right down to support and found enough buyers to bring it right back up here. That was just a squeeze play. So that 2 year, man, it is screaming. Look at that. Same triple top we were just talking about. So I would imagine that these rates actually drop. So there's probably some bad news coming out. The rates drop. 10-year, well, because the 10-year may go down and the shorter term ones may go up. So let's see how that goes. But this looks like we're going to probably drop down to the 2.4. It's going to cut in half. So if that's the case, then they're going to drop rates. Money will flood the system. I won't say the economy will get better, but spending will happen. Here's our bond futures, man. They are diving. It's on at 116. I'm sure this has to do with the debt ceiling debacle and people trying to come up with money. But more importantly, it's this. Here's what I'm talking about. They're buying at this point. Now they know they have to roll this over, but do they want to? Do they want to roll over right away? Because they're making this decision for the next few months. So I believe this will tank probably to October 13th down to here. And then somewhere around October, some magic happens and we get an October surprise. And when we bounce these rates all the way back up to here. So Here's Tether. I'm interested to see how Tether handles this through the next week or two. See how if it correlates to Bitcoin or not. So we're going to keep an eye on that too. Here's the SDS, which is the ultra short for the S&P 500. We just had dividends. I think we're at if the S&P is going to drop, this is going to go up. So same thing. Expect this to rebound up to about $61. Apollo hasn't started falling yet, but they're topping out, and I would expect some future news or events. I don't know if it'll be their earnings. Maybe it'll be their guidance from their earnings. Maybe their earnings will be good, but their guidance going forward won't be too good because of the economic conditions of the real estate market and all the bad debt they own. Here's Palantir. Let that rebound. Let it pull back a little more. Small caps. Home Depot. Here's the thing. Home Depot I won't say it'll take a shit, but it's probably done going up for now until those rates cuts. When they start getting rate cuts, Home Depot will probably go through the roof because then people will refinance and then go buy the appliances they want, redo their houses. So the last probably year, because the interest rates have been going up. All those people will refinance. That's how our economic system works. So they bleed us slightly, or they bleed us but slowly over the last year and a half. So now they have enough blood in the blood bank to give us some back, and I'll call the interest rates the blood bank. So now that they have interest rates hiked enough, they have some room to back them down to introduce some money to the system. Warner Brothers, I still wouldn't buy that yet. Generac, I don't think it's going to go up anymore. That may have finished. Let's see if we get a nice little push. But I believe we are heading down to, unless the rates get cut soon, then we're going to go up. But December, something's going to happen, or October. Haynes, like I said, we were looking at that. That was probably the top. Similar divergence on different time pattern, on different time periods showed divergence here. Get out of the position. Let's see if it holds support around, 412 to 419 in that area. We find support. I don't know. I'm just going to follow the chart, and we're going to make our decisions based on that. Natural gas, it's finding support, but let's see. We do have a good summer, and I don't know how the Ukraine-Russia thing is going to play out over the next 2 months. Sirius XM, because Sirius XM is owed so much money from, who was it? Media Math. You guys were talking about on Podcasting 2.0 podcast. Here you go, Dave. This is Sirius XM, and somehow they're going to be hurt by that, but their stock isn't shit. It's $4.50. So, not that anyone would want to short this. I don't know if it's going to wait till their earnings, but I'm sure that's going to affect their stock. So we'll see that. Spotify right now, man, just the pattern. This is set to drop. We RSI, so we still definitely have some room. Let's see what happens here. But the pattern is telling us that we're reaching our upper limits. So obviously I have too many charts on here. Teldec, I don't care about that right now. I don't even know why I still have that on there. Starbucks, it's option time. This has definitely reached its peak. I'd expect a failure probably down to this level, $60-some. And with that being said, everyone, I want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your time, your support. I enjoy doing this. And once again, Sir Alex, you have a wonderful platform, No Agenda Tube, with all the bells and whistles. That is more bells and whistles that I know about, especially after listening to you. It was great to hear you on Podcasting 2.0 Friday or Saturday, Sunday morning, whenever I listened to it. But it's good to hear you on there, buddy. So once again, thank everyone for their support. You can always donate. You can always go to, if you're watching this on No Agenda Tube, you can just donate right there on our Alby wallet, because Alby wallet seems to be working pretty good again. You could always download a new podcast app, or a modern podcast app at new podcast apps. Podverse and CurioCaster work great with video, and they have boostergrams right there. You can boost us. Stay in touch. I'm just going to keep doing this, guys. I hope it grows. Sir Alex is doing his best to coach me in ways like to read the boostergrams and stuff. Albie wasn't working. It's working again. So I'll get on that. Thanks again, everybody. And Lover of Knowledge, you sent me a message. Hey, where's the show at? It was just last week. It was a holiday week with a holiday kind of in the middle of the week. So Friday was the only show worth doing, and I figured we'd just save that for today. So good to talk to everybody again. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe and effective. And boost. I'll see everybody again Wednesday.